Hey everyone, I'm Dmae Lo Roberts, executive producer of MediaRites, and welcome to our half-hour launch of the ISM Youth Files book. Yay! After 2 years or more, the work of our 20 writers is finally ready. And I know it feels like a long time for our youth who wrote in a couple years ago about their pandemic experiences, but I'm really proud of this book. Speaking Our Truths has personal and candid essays, poetry, and graphic novelettes about the impact on the mental wellness, of youth during the pandemic and afterward, and still probably, still has an effect because it was such a monumental experience. We had 2 rounds of submissions, and BIPOC writers and writers with disabilities wrote in, and we also had BIPOC writers judge the work, and also youth also judged the work. And then we also interviewed each of our writers, which will be for our upcoming 5-part podcast project. But first, before we meet all the writers, or at least the writers who are present with us today, I want to thank our funders, especially Ronnie Lacroute, who was the very first person to fund this project. So let's give a round of, thanks to the funders, which you'll see right now on our screen. Thank you to all of our funders. We couldn't have done this without you. I also want to give a shout out to our creative team who worked on this book with us. Our mental health consultant and co-editor, Eleanor Gill Kashwabara, who's there somewhere on our Zoom right now. Co-editor Sandra DeHelen, who is also a board member of MediaRites. Lori L. Lake, our independent book consultant who helped us to actually publish the book, and Samson Ciaroth, our associate producer, and Amanda Anderson, our production manager, who is with us right now. She's working behind the scenes and she's directing this event via Zoom. So I might ask her, I'll say, Amanda, let's see this, or change the view during the next half hour. So don't be surprised if I shout out for Amanda. She's wonderful. Today, we're going to meet half of our writers from around the country and from India. Then we're going to be interviewed by Oregon Arts Watch writer Danielle Vermette. And first, though, a reminder that we created a youth mental health toolkit with Oregon Children's Theater. It's free right now and includes information and resources for youth, families, schools, and community groups. Just visit MediaRites.org to download it. That's MEDIARITES.org. Now, today we're live streaming on Facebook Live, and we're giving away a softcover edition of our new book, Speaking Our Truths. If you want to enter our drawing, visit MediaRites.org and donate via PayPal $1 for a raffle ticket, and you'll be entered during this half hour. MediaRites is a nonprofit in Portland, Oregon, and any donations are tax deductible. The book is selling for $17.95 for the softcover and $8.95 for the ebook, and we'll have more information about that later on. So Amanda, let's switch to are we on gallery mode right now? Okay, so we are on gallery mode. Let's meet our writers. Speaking Our Truths is actually, the title itself is a riff on one of our writers' essays. Trini Fang, who wrote How We Speak Our Truths, and we were inspired by her work as we realized each of our writers painstakingly spoke about their truth and sending us their writings. So thank you, Trini, for that inspiration. And I'd actually like each of you to introduce yourselves, saying your whole name, where you're located, and what's the weather like right now. So I'm going to start with Trini since I mentioned Trini. So go ahead, Trini.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Trini Fang. I'm 18 years old, and right now I'm in Crystal Lake, Illinois, which is about an hour away from Chicago. And right now it's very cold. We have a lot of snow on the ground, and it's about freezing. So cold.
And who is next? Let's do Adrija for a contrast. Tell us about you, your name, and where you're located and what it's like right now for you weather-wise.
It's really a contrast. Hello, everyone. I'm Anjika Chana. I'm also 18 and I'm currently based in the capital of India, that is Delhi. And in contrast to Chennai, it is really hot over here, unlivably hot. It's like you're being roasted alive in a volcano. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Wow, that is quite a contrast here. So we got cold and hot. Anybody in between? Just jump right in. How about you, Isabella? How's it going?
I'm Isabella or Bella Santana. I'm 18 years old. I live in Los Angeles, and it's kind of, I mean, to everyone else in the world, it probably wouldn't be considered that cold, but to LA people, it's really cold. It's like 60 degrees because we just got over like our 12th storm of the season. So, yeah.
Yeah, you've had it rough in California for a bit of the winter and spring for sure. Let's hear from Janelle. How are you, Janelle?
I'm doing good. My name is Janelle Theobald. I am 16 years old and I'm in Beaverton, Oregon. It's pretty close to Portland. Weather's nice and sunny for once. It's only like 50 degrees, but it actually feels really warm, I guess, after the long winter. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it does feel warm, actually. Anytime it's sunny, it feels warm. Jernia, how's it going for you?
Hi, my name is Jernia, and I'm 18. The weather over here is, I live on the coast, so we're like right in between all the time. It's like extra New England over here. I live in Mystic, Connecticut. So right now it's warm. Probably tomorrow or probably by like the next hour, it's probably going to be freezing. So it's kind of how we work in New England.
It's very much like here in many ways. I also want to get to Mila. Hi, Mila and Eleanor. How you doing? How you both doing?
I'm good. You're good.
I'm well
Okay.
too.
So hi, I'm Mila Kashiobara. I'm 11 years old. I live in Portland, Oregon, and right now it's like some may say it's cold because it's like I don't even know, it's like in its 40s or 50s, but I think it's really hot because like when I left school, I felt like I had to be in like a swimming pool because I'm just really sensitive to heat. That's it. I don't know.
Awesome. And I know that, and Eleanor, how are you doing? She's our mental health consultant and co-editor. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Eleanor. As Dmae just said, as the mental health consultant, I'm a psychologist here in Portland, Oregon, and also had the honor of being a co-editor for the book. So it's great to be here with everyone today.
It's so great working with you and every one of our writers. It's such a pleasure because everybody's so talented and your work is just so moving to me. That's why you were chosen. And I hope you've all had a chance to read each other's work. You know, I'd love to hear comments from you about somebody else's pieces too. I know Freya's on here, but I think she might be having trouble getting her audio together or something. So we'll wait and see how she's doing. Yeah. So I just wanted to also just remind people that you can win a copy of the Speaking Our Truths book. Just go to MediaRites.org and donate $1 to get a raffle ticket to win a softcover edition of the physical book. And so now I want to turn it over to Danielle Vermette. And did I pronounce your name correctly, Danielle? All right, you want to tell a little bit about yourself? Oh, your audio's not on.
I always forget that little component. Hello, everybody. What a privilege to be here. I was so just absolutely kind of shattered by all of your work, I want to say, as I start off here. But I'm an artist in Portland, Oregon. I'm an actor and a writer here. And I've been writing for Arts Watch for a couple of years now. And I come to you mostly as a person without a child who was most intrigued by this because I find myself often thinking gosh, what has this generation gone through? And, what was the pandemic like? And this was just such a great opportunity to dig really deeply into some of your experiences. So, yeah, I loved it. I love your work so much. And like I said, it's vulnerable and raw and revealing and inspiring. And I'm really happy to talk with each of you. It's fun to put your faces to your pieces. So I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us. And I don't know if we want to start off with, it's been a 2-year journey or more.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to say anything about how their life has changed since you first wrote this essay? Anybody have any thoughts on that? Journey has got her hand raised, and then we'll have Adrija.
Yeah, so well, when I was writing my first piece, it was like in 2021, so I was a junior, or just graduated as a junior in high school, and then my second piece was in senior year, and now I'm like mostly through my gap year almost, and I definitely got to take it in one of my pieces that was like a big goal of mine. And so in that way, there's like some similarities. But like how I feel about like social interactions has completely changed. I feel more confident. It's still a bit rocky sometimes when it comes to like big group gatherings, like in places that, seem so normal before, like maybe like a restaurant with a couple people that you just met. It's still a little rocky, and I can even see it in other people's faces too, like what do we say, like what do we do again? But interestingly enough, I just recently had a rerun with COVID again in my family, and it's interesting because like at this point, and for me, up until this experience, COVID had been kind of like gone to the wayside. And it came up, it brought about a death in my family. And also it came into our house too the day after we found out one of our family members passed. So it was very, very, very earth shattering for me. I'm still going through that process now. But it just kind of reminded me like how far I've went, but like how far I feel like things could or need to go for me as far as my trauma goes when it comes to COVID and isolation. Overall, did a lot of healing in that period, and so yeah, that's what's been going on with me since then.
Sorry to hear that. Condolences to you and your family, Journey.
Thank you. Yeah,
sharing that.
We're doing great though. Everyone in my household is safe and healthy.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, life, huh? Okay. So, Adrija, you had a very dramatic, COVID experience, which you wrote about. So I'm hoping things are much better now.
I was also in my junior year of high school when I wrote the piece, and currently I'm in college, I'm in university, and a lot has changed. Obviously, I'm 2,000 kilometers away from home. I had to get adjusted to the new life in university, and life is not kind when you are all by yourself and when you are looking out for yourself. That is something I've realized. But at the same time, when I wrote the piece, I actually mentioned that I feel that I'm a different person. Right now, I feel like I'm an even more different person, definitely different from the girl who wrote that piece. So yeah, I've gone through some dramatic and drastic life changes, but as everybody says, life goes on, and I'm just getting used to the idea that life goes on and I have to keep flowing with it.
Yeah, I think that most everybody has had a pretty dramatic experience during the pandemic. I don't want to belittle anyone else's experience either. I just know each of your stories, and I'm moved by each of your stories. And I just feel myself very privileged to be able to share in that with you, because you guys were so honest. So very honest. So thank you, Adrija. And I don't know, Janelle, do you want to talk about how life has changed for you in the last 2 years?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of work, like readjusting after the pandemic. I guess like I'm getting more used to being around people again. Um, as for my mental health, I've had some more ups and downs, but I'm pretty good now. And yeah, I think it has been a while since I wrote that essay, but I think there are still a lot of like common themes. I'm still dedicated to helping people who struggle with their mental health. And yeah, it's been a while, but I guess some things have changed and some things are the same.
Thank you, Janelle. Yeah, thank you. And Bella, how have things been for you last 2 years?
Okay, so I think the biggest life change that happened was that I went to college. Um, and that kind of like gave me a lot more independence. I started taking my craft more seriously. So I've been writing a lot of poetry recently, getting better at it. I've been trying to like promote myself because I just recently finished like a full length manuscript for a collection. So I'm trying to like get it out there and see if I can get it published. Um, I've definitely had some ups and downs from since when I wrote my piece, but I think in general I'm doing a lot better. I'm just like so much more grateful for, I mean, in the end of my piece, I wrote about being very grateful for the life that I was given and realizing like the value in it. And I think that still is true even today. I'm still very grateful for the life I was given and the chance to live again that I was given. Um, and obviously, life isn't pretty and it isn't perfect all the time, but I think I definitely have all the skills to get through it and not resort to my like maladaptive coping skills.
Awesome. Thank you. I want to get to Trini and Mila too. So Trini, tell us how you've been in how life has changed for you.
Yeah, so I wrote my piece, I think just about this time last year. So that was when I was in my junior year of high school. Now I'm in my senior year, so I'm looking more at like colleges and where I want to be for the next 4 years, which is definitely something that I was not ready for a year ago at this time. Like I feel like ever since I've been trying to tell myself like what I really want out of my life in the future and what I really want to do with the skills that I have. And also, I think the piece helped me reflect a lot on like kind of like the people I want to be around and want to surround myself with in like the next 4 years that I have, and maybe more years after that. But yeah, I think a lot of my piece is written about kind of trying to find like community either online or in person, and how it was kind of difficult to find like an in-person community after COVID, because like a lot of other people have said, like it's hard to kind of socialize or know how to socialize with people after that. But I think this year I really try to put myself out more and try to meet more people and try to find like common ground with them, even though like I hadn't really met them before. So I think that's a big change that I would say has happened in my life.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Mila, how has life changed for you? It's been pretty dramatic because you were 10 when you wrote your piece, right?
Yeah, I was 10. And it's not like I'm so much older, but I kind of am. But it's like I'm almost 12, so I mean, that's cool. So I mean, that's changed my age. And I feel like with that, I've matured and I'm smarter now. I have more of a sense of really who I am and what I like to do more in my style. And for mental health, I feel like definitely hasn't stayed the same. And I don't think it's gotten better, but I don't think it's gotten worse. It's kind of been like everyone's kind of been saying, some ups and downs along the way. And I wrote this piece before my grandfather had passed away, and that is now a lot like of the root of my anxiety. And because I was very close with him, he lived really close. Like we had an ADU in our backyard, so he literally lived there, and he was very sick. So that was definitely a big part of that. And now I just have my anxiety sometimes just takes over, which is really hard. But I think at the same time, I'm handling it, and I have therapy, I take medication, and I think that helps a lot actually. So I think that in that sense, it's gotten better because before I just didn't really know what to do with that, like that anxiety. I was just like, okay, like why is it here? I remember when I was younger, like before I wrote this, I'd like tell my mom that I was like feeling sad and like scared, but it was really just my disassociation telling me it's like nothing's real. And sometimes I just have those kinds of maybe hours where I just feel like that, and it's really scary. But like I said before, I know how to handle it now, so that's changed.
Yeah, thank you for that. I liked how you said it's not necessarily better, it's not necessarily worse, it's like it's a process, it's a process. And I know we're taking a lot of time so far, we're running out of time, but Danielle, do you have questions or a big question that you want to ask our writers?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have questions for every author. I've read all the pieces carefully, but I think just for the sake of time, one overarching thing that occurred to me after I read this is I was like, we have the big question all wrong, because the big question that we culturally ask is like, if you as an adult could speak to your child's self, what is the thing that you would say? And I'm like, after reading this book, I was like, the question should be, if you as a youth could speak to like your parent self, because you have this incredible wisdom right now and this incredible vulnerability that you may never have access to again in your life in the same way. I'm like, that's my question. What would you say to your parent self? Because I think, writing that down or contemplating that or thinking about that could be really interesting. And I mean, your pieces are all a testament to this very innate wisdom that each of you has. So that's my question. What would you say to your parent self? What would you say right now to your future self that you've taken from this pandemic, that you've taken from your experiences so far? And I know it's a pretty existential question, but that is my overarching question after reading the book. Yeah, speak up.
Can I start speaking? Okay.
Sure.
I would tell my parent self, or like my older version of myself, to never stop fighting. Because in my experience, there are many, many times where I wanted to just give up and stop fighting for myself, but I don't really know what it was. I don't know like what kept me going, but something kept me going, and I never stopped fighting for myself. And to this day, I'm still fighting for myself. And like now that I'm an adult, I'm taking care of myself mainly I'm taking care of myself, and like I'm going to my doctor's appointments and stuff like that. And the doctors are like, sometimes they don't take me seriously. And, I'm not letting them just like dismiss me. I'm fighting for myself. I'm advocating for myself. And I think that's something really important for the youth to like remember, is that that there's always power. They have power in their voice, and that there's power in their words and power in their actions. And something that adults need to, like, as a future self, something that I want to keep in my head, because it's very easy, especially as a woman, to be just dismissed in society and be told that your words don't matter, or that you're being emotional, or just do this, just do that. And I need to keep that always in my mind, to never stop fighting for myself and never stop using my voice.
The first thing that I would probably tell my parents self is to not forget that I was also a child once at a time, And if I let it, that child is still alive in myself, because I've seen that happen through the process of adulting. Things that people do when they were at a particular age, they restrict their own children from doing that when they reach that stage of becoming a parent. And I feel that that's actually very restrictive and harmful to the development of the child, because you can't keep policing somebody. You have to let them go your own way. You have to let them make your own mistakes. And so this is definitely something that I would like my parent self to remember.
Yeah, I would something similar to that. Just like, accept, don't be judgmental. You gotta accept that, like, your child is their own person, and I mean, maybe like, maybe they have like a different personality, or they have like a different skill set, or maybe like they're like, I don't know, well, maybe they want to like go into a different career as you, but you can't really like judge them. And don't, I guess what I'm trying to say, like, don't like try to tell your child that they're wrong, because they're not. They're just different. And I saw a quote the other day. I don't really remember where I saw it, but it was like, many parents will do anything for their children except let them be themselves. And that's unfortunately, I think, something that, a lot of parents do, but I don't want to fall into that same trap.
I think if I had to say something about my parent self, I would try to say like focus on what you love, or do something that you love. Because I think like even now, like I feel like I have a lot of pressure on me to kind of do something that society wants me to do, or like choose a career that will be conventionally successful, and kind of ignore everything else that it takes to get there. But I found that like a lot of the hobbies I have and a lot of the things I enjoy doing, like they're so important to me, because they let me see different sides of myself and let me express myself in ways that I wouldn't be able to otherwise. So I would really want my parent self to kind of hold on to that and be able to continue doing what I love, even if it's maybe not like seen as the most successful.
Thank you. Let's keep going a little bit, because not everybody got to answer. So Dernia and Mila, either of you want to comment on that?
Yeah. What I would say to my parent self, and I actually think about this a lot, I would say stay in the mind of a kid. Like always try to look from your own childlike perspective. Because, and I believe this even now, like just seeing like people younger than me like run around, I think that there's so much incredible, like insatiable wisdom when it comes from children that's just been pushed to the wayside, in past generations. And I think that this COVID, this book even was like, not necessarily our time to shine, but it brought a lot of stuff up that were like the adults didn't even know how to handle it. And it's like the kids are here to also share their voice and be like, hey, we're here, we're listening, we observe, we absorb, and we're people too. And I think that if I was a parent at the time, I would, follow my kid instead of the other way around, as much as I possibly could.
Thank you. Mila?
I'd probably say something. It's a little bit similar to what Audrey just said, but it's like inside you there is still there's a kid. I think if I ever say or think anything really bad about myself that will really bring me down and may put me in a dark state, I think you need to know that like I need to put myself in the mindset that I'm saying that to my younger self, and how would that make her feel to have known that she always gets like told those things all the time by her peers, and how would that make her feel, and just to know that you can't bring yourself down like that, because there's that like little child inside of you who's suffering.
like that.
Thank you. Do you guys mind if we run just a little bit longer? Because I'm sure Danielle has another question. Just one more question.
Yeah, I don't mind at all. I mean, I could write a whole book on what I just heard. That was amazing. I'm like, whoa. Something that sort of astonished me as an overarching theme is this passion among each and every one of you to share your work to help other people and to reach out to other people. And, the lengths that you went to say often in your author statements, like, I want to write this because I don't want other people to feel alone. And I'm just curious, through the process of writing, and then of course through the process of working with the editors, how did getting to publication, which you are now, was, without guiding your idea here, was this a cathartic process? Was it, how do you feel that the role of art played in your ability to cope with the pandemic and with everything that you went through? And you can answer as broadly or as specifically as you want to.
Thank you for the question, Daniel. I think that was the central idea behind me writing it, because at the point I wrote my piece, I was absolutely brain fused. I was like brain blown and kind of also desensitized to everything that was happening, because the amount of pain and trauma we saw around us and within us, that was sometimes way too much to handle. And I have had to see a death of a friend by suicide during the time of the pandemic as well. And that really made me realize how lonely people might feel, even if they have family around them all the time, because not everybody gets you or even wants to get you or even can get you at every point in time. Sometimes it is just you with yourself, even though there might be people milling about. And so at that point in time, knowing somebody somewhere in the world has had a similar experience maybe, or also has gone through something that they could not share at that particular time, I think that feels like somebody is just coming and holding your hand. Art has definitely been my strongest support during this time. I think the real reason why I could make out of this alive and well. And I also wanted others to have access to that story, to that experience, to make sure that, even they could feel that, yes, I'm not alone. Even though the person who I'm connecting to with through art is not with me, I'm still not alone.
Yeah, I think for me, it was, I guess, I had multiple motivations for writing my piece. It was kind of similar, I guess, where, I wanted people who are struggling with mental health, oftentimes they feel like they're so alone, like no one else can understand them. They have to deal with their problems by themselves. But so I guess I wanted to, let everyone else know that no, they're not alone, and there are others who are also struggling. And it was also kind of like a PSA, letting just the general population know about this huge problem that needs to be addressed. And then I guess it was just kind of like for the selfish reason that, I had all of these feelings, and I guess like writing my essay, that helps me like make sense of what I was feeling. And yeah, it was pretty cathartic.
Sense.
For me, I'm not much of a memoir creative nonfiction writer. I'm more of a poet. But that doesn't mean I'm not gonna write creative or a memoir piece when it speaks to me. But for the purpose of art, I feel like art saved me in so many ways. I actually recently found like it's literally right next to me. There's like I have a stack of art and notebooks and journals and poetry and everything that I made in my like 2 years of treatment, of in and out of mental health treatment and facilities. And I look back through it and I thought it was so beautiful that I found a way to just put all my pain and into these like little poems that I wrote in the margins of worksheets or in collages that I made with no scissors. And I just think that art is such a beautiful way for me to get all my emotions out and to like what's the word? Compartmentalize and visualize the world, because the world we live in is tough. We live in a tough, tough world, and it's hard to cope with that reality sometimes. And I think having art in my life, poetry in my life, really just really helps me like deal with the fact that this is the world that I live in and that this is my reality.
There is a lot that I can say about this. A lot of, I feel the same way towards like I can take, stuff from everybody who's already said something. Um, for me, honestly, I feel like I am a healer and I feel a lot of collective energy like all the time, and it makes me really angry a lot because I can't, it feels like because it's collective energy, it's so much and it's so I don't know why the word egregious is coming to mind, but it's like so just huge and overwhelming for me because I can't fix it for people. And so I feel like art, whether it's music, poetry, it's a way for me to solidify my feelings and validate it for me, but then also be vulnerable and express my vulnerability that also helps others as well. And I feel like it's a way that we connect from heart to heart as humans, as people and beings. And it's just much needed. As far as being published goes and how that felt, I felt that that was incredibly affirming. And I went on to start writing a book about some other problems that I, feel inside, and that it really showed me like, wow, like I feel like this is my purpose. I feel seen. So I think, hearing youth and like hearing and bringing out their work to be published on like an actual like big screen is super important um, for like the mental well-being of a person and a child.
I think I first started writing it because even though I'd like lived through the pandemic for like basically my whole high school life, I didn't really know exactly like how it had affected me. Like I knew it had changed me, but I couldn't like exactly pinpoint what I felt or what I took away from it. So writing my piece helped me kind of figure that out and kind of help to even discover myself more as a person and see where I had started and where I was at the point of writing that. And again, like I also wrote this because I felt like I needed to kind of have my voice heard. I felt like I hadn't really read about what like mental health, like the mental health effect on teenagers during the pandemic has been. I feel like that's kind of an issue that's kind of slipped under the radar, where people don't really reflect on how the pandemic has affected teenagers. And I really wanted to just show kind of like how it has affected me at least, and see if that would resonate with anyone else who kind of felt similarly.
I think that, well, art has kind of helped me a lot with my mental health. It has also kind of been hard for me at the same time. Like I like journal a lot, that helps me. But at the same time, when I was younger, not younger, I was like a few years ago. Well, yeah, I was like younger, but I'm like journaling was really unhealthy for me, and like I'd write some really bad stuff in my journal about myself, and that was really unhealthy. So I kind of had to take a break for a little. And then when I got back into it, when I was in therapy and my therapist suggested it, I'm like, you know what, I might as well. And I mean, I journal every day. whenever I feel like it. And it really helps me a lot. Something with sketching, because I love to draw, and it kind of sometimes if I'm angry or sad or just mad, I can kind of just take everything out on that really. And I think that's actually helped me a lot with my mental health journey so far.
Wow, thank you all. I like that you are still practicing things that will give you comfort, that will help you, as far as your mental health, but also just being happy, and living your life, and finding tools that really help you to move forward or to live in where you are right now. So thank you all for sharing that. I wish that we had more time. We already went over, and I know some of you are in different time zones, and it's like, getting late. So I'm going to just give you some information. There's some big news. We are actually making the ebook at midnight tonight free for 5 days on Kindle, Amazon, or Amazon Kindle. So let people know for 5 days you can get the ebook for free. That's our promotion. And so I know you're going to tell your friends, so go for it. But it's 5 days only. So, let them know, midnight tonight, Pacific time, March 15th. All right. So I want to thank you all of our writers, and for joining us, and big congratulations to each of you. You are published writers. You are published writers, and that is a big deal. So, spread the word. And before I go, I'm going to draw. I'll do two winners. How's this? From my really fancy bowl here. Okay. The first winner is Ladette Viravong for the book. All right. Congratulations. And I'll do one more. Oh, Eleanor. Eleanor wins a book. So awesome. Thank you all for joining us. And so some final things. That's it for for that. And Danielle Vermette, thank you for joining us today from Oregon Arts Watch and for interviewing our youth. I can make the transcript available of this session to you too.
Please do. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate you joining us.
Oh, so much.
That's it for the live launch of Speaking Our Truth. Season Youth Files are planning youth readings in the Portland area, and hopefully maybe in some authors' hometowns. Some more on that later. If you are part of a community group, you can order, or a family, you can order, any individuals, you can order a book on an ebook on Amazon. And the book is $17.95 for the soft cover, and it's $8.95 for the ebook, except for this 5-day promotion. And so if you're a school or library, you can make orders at Ingram Spark. And so please tell your schools and libraries to have this book, on their shelves. And if you have any questions about our book, please reach out to us at MediaRitesPro@gmail.com and visit our website at MediaRites.org. I'm Dmae Lo Roberts, saying thank you to each and every one of you. I appreciate you joining us. I appreciate you writing, and I just appreciate getting to know you, and you are all amazing, wonderful women. You really are. So, and we will be keeping in touch, and I hope you enjoy the book when you get it in your hands, which will be soon. It'll be soon. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. That's it for MediaRites. And thank you to Amanda for doing all of this stuff to make this possible. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.